hit that subscribe button. Let's get started.
Okay, so I'm back. Made some changes and configurations and all that stuff, so hopefully things are a little better. I'm going to go back over here and continue on airbrushing. This is just a recording, so I'll upload it as a video to YouTube. I can post on X and all that stuff afterwards. So that way I'm just going to focus on doing the airbrushing. I'll talk and walk you through some of the things I'm doing, but I don't have to worry about comments and all that stuff. Not that I don't appreciate y'all's comments and stuff, but you know, sometimes it's easier just to do the airbrushing and that part of it is just knocking it out. And so I always do lives and all that stuff, and I appreciate y'all's comments and stuff as it's happening. I've got mods now, so that helps out greatly. But in order to stop and read the comments and try to answer your questions and all that stuff, I know it helps when you're doing it live and all that stuff. And eventually we will get to that point where it's much easier and all that stuff. But for right now, I'm just going to jump into doing a live recording, and then we'll post that and as a video to my YouTube, to my X, to my Facebooks, and we'll try it that way to finish this out. So I'm just going to jump on airbrushing and just knock it out and see what we can get to. So let me switch cameras and you guys can follow along. So hang tight. Okay, so this is the current state of the Deadpool character bust that I'm working on, and give you a little bit of a view from right there. I'll go over here and spin it around so you can see it all the way around right now. You see where we're at. So earlier, and I'll show this from overhead here in a second. So I haven't done anything on the back yet. Got to figure out what else I need to do there on the back to make sure that I've got things covered. The problem is my photo doesn't show me, and I'm not sure because I don't know much about this character. I'm gonna have to probably do some research, figure out if I'm supposed to paint some other stuff red, but you can see from there. So let me switch cameras and you can see it from the overhead view and you can see what we need to do still. So let me switch the cameras around. And now you can see it from the overhead. So let's move our chair over here and get into it. Okay, so earlier I have some red in here already that we were painting with. So I'm gonna make sure I'm still got paint coming out. Continue adding some of that paint. I think I still have paint in here. Y'all let it dry up on me. Well, I'll be darned. Oh, we're almost dry paint, so let's add a little bit more paint here. Let's add a little bit of the water mix. Remember, we got it almost too wet earlier. What color of red was that? I think it's. I thought we were doing a deep red. We are. There we go. So the deep red over here is open. Let's add some of that down in the box here. The box, I don't know, what do you call this thing? Paint holder. The tub. The bucket. Yeah, those things. So, clean off our tip there so it doesn't fill up. Set that off to the side. We'll put our little cap back on and we'll use the bubble method to stir it up. So cap the end, close the top, pull back on our paint. Oh boy, that blew up quick. Did y'all see that? It's a good thing it didn't blow paint all over the place. Or we would have had paint everywhere. Just stirring it down inside of its own bucket. Just using the bubble method. I can feel it bubbling as I pull back on that, so it's bubbling and stirring itself. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we got some red coming out. We want to dial it back down now and control it. Still too much. Turn it way down. Still got a lot. Just keep. There we go. Now we've got control over it. Let's add some more stuff in here. Try to get the coverage we're looking for now. While we're start up here at the top, I guess. Work my way down. I want to try to get everything evenly coated and looking correct on this pass, I guess. We're sort of do what we need to do to make sure everything's covered. Sometimes light is an issue. I've got those lights overhead, but can't always see just from where they're at. I know I was talking and telling y'all over on X that we come right back on with a live stream, and maybe if all the people that we all follow and watch and all that stuff, maybe they're live on YouTube now and y'all are having something to watch besides waiting on me to come back, hopefully, while I'm just sitting here just making this video. Because again, I don't, it's not that I don't want to see the comments and all that stuff. Is that unfortunately, whenever I'm sitting here trying to do this, I definitely see that there's an issue because I can't focus on the comments that I know y'all want to say stuff to me because I'm sitting here painting, and it's just that part of it's sort of hard, and I got to figure all that part out so that y'all want to watch my videos and stuff. So it's no different. I mean, whenever I'm, granted, it's a different style because, like, some of our favorite YouTubers, one of my favorites, y'all know, is Roman Atwood. And I watch his videos, and his videos are just, I mean, it's videos. He never does lives and all that stuff. He records the content, uploads it, and then we get to watch it. We sit and watch it, no comments and all that stuff later. So, not that it's a bad thing, but I know some people, they want to engage and ask things whenever, I don't know how many times I've watched Roman's stuff, and as he's about to do something, I'm sitting there screaming at the TV like, you're gonna get your ass electrocuted or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just one of the things where you want to interact with people, and I want y'all to be able to do that with my stuff. But at the same time, I realize it's so hard to focus and do this right here as I'm painting and stuff. But I want to be able to answer your questions. There was people asking a question earlier about painting and all that stuff. I think maybe their kid, they're interested in getting a paint setup for their kid for Christmas. So we're one of my little cats. And I know I can hear it already. I hear y'all screaming, show the cat. Show the cat on camera. So well, I'd have to go back over there and switch, but the camera so y'all can see her. But I'll show y'all the mama and the baby cat. Baby cat's not a baby anymore, but she's definitely mama's baby. So, and I don't mean my wife. She's the baby of the mother cat that my son brought home from our friend's farm. We didn't know that he picked out the one that was pregnant, so now we have 2 cats. She only had 1 kitten. So we have a mama cat and a baby cat. We have never owned a cat until now, just saying. We just never have, because my wife said she's allergic to them, blah, blah, blah. And we've always had dogs. And I'm telling you, these cats are really, for me, I'm confident in saying my wife would say the same thing, that they've actually brought us a lot of joy and fun and entertainment and all that stuff. So I know cats. It has been a challenge because we've never owned cats, and this was a new learning experience for us with having owned cats and having to clean out litter boxes and all that stuff. But now that they've learned the doggy door and they went outside a few times, we used to we used to block off the door so they couldn't get outside and all that stuff because we didn't know how they were going to react. Even though we got Mama Cat from a farm and she was able to go outside and she was used to it, we just weren't sure how baby would be and all that stuff. We didn't want them to run off type thing. So we've got tracker collars on them and all that stuff. So now they go where the heck they want to. Heck, I went out in the garage the other day and they were laying on my golf cart out in the garage, just on the driver's seat, just hanging out, just watching squirrels and stuff running in the yard. So now we don't have to worry about the litter box because they go outside and do their business. They know how to do all that. But one of the things where, I mean, sort of weird to think about it this way, but hell, I didn't know you could potty train a cat per se to go in and out and do all that stuff. But hey, I'm learning that you can, because ours do. We have a litter box just in case, if it's raining outside, they're not going to go outside type thing. And they want to stay inside, they'll stay inside and use the litter box if they need to. So just saying. Just trying to get these areas covered that I need covered. So as I was talking about in my other video, I'm trying to just get this good base layer of dark red down so that shortly when I add some red highlights with a lighter shade of red, it sort of gives an effect. Again, I'm out of paint, so let's see what's going on here. I just feel like it's not spraying correctly. I think it's because y'all are talking way too much. Walk away and let the thing dry a little bit. So what you got to do is you got to open it up and really get that paint flowing and work that needle back and forth so it rips off all the crap that builds up on the needle, because the needle passes through the tip. And so as it dries, it'll fill the area in until you get that loose. Now we've got a good spray pattern going again. So there we go. Yeah, so there was a lady in the comments talking about maybe interested in doing some getting an airbrush for her children for Christmas type thing. And I'm telling you, it's neat, it's fun, it's a whole different thing for me. I really enjoy sitting here airbrushing, getting a bunch of splatter here. I probably need to clean my tip real quick because something's not going on right here. And these are just things you learn as you're airbrushing and all that stuff. Just learn these little things. And I know there's guys I've seen that as they're airbrushing, they wear like this little ring thing that they can stick their tip down there and clean off their tip. But I just haven't found it to work that easy. So I just get a paintbrush, get some thinner, clean my tip real good. You can use it. I've got this old sponge right here, so I was using it the other day, and that way it gets way back in there at that tip. You just scrub that tip down good, and you spray a little out. See if it works better that way. It's the paint flowing without having some clog. That seems to be better. We'll see. Turn a little work light here next to me because it broadcasts a little light into the shadowed areas that it gets down here. Sometimes I can't see it, and I cast shadows on it with my hands and arms and stuff like that. So sometimes it don't take much to get a run going. You don't want that. Again, it's all about control. Control the paint of where it's going and how thick it's going down. And if you're putting too much and it starts running, and yeah, your first couple times you might have that occur. Don't fret, it gets easier as you do it. Yeah, and you might have a little overspray somewhere on something, but again, if I can spray red, I can spray black to clear it to clean it back up, so don't be afraid to spray. Just get in there and spray what you want and what you want to do. Come back and worry about the repairs per se later. Just keep working on. Don't just stop just because you're like, oh crap, I got paint on that. Just keep going. Just lay your colors down and let's worry about those things that are oopsies later. Trust me, I have oopsies all the time. No big deal. Figure out a different way to fix it. Okay. Put some down here on these arm pieces. Coverage down there. Right, there's definitely some paint coming out now. Just got it a little bit too thin or something. It's definitely flowing now. That's what you do whenever you really want to get some paint laid down. It's just open your gun up a little bit, just let it flow. But again, you still want to do it in control. You don't want to just blast paint all over the place. So lay some paint down and keep working with it. Make sure you get your really hard to reach areas too. Some of these areas can really be tough to get spray up and down and in there. It's like this edge is different there. If you fold it back and look at it from another angle, then you can see it. Sometimes you can't see those angles that you really need to get. That's part of like the red here. Okay, all that's brown there, so I don't know. That's black. I don't know what's back here should be red because that's black. This has got to be red. Let me go ahead and look at my photo, my reference photo, but I think that some of that is black around there. So that's red there. So wouldn't his shirt underneath be black? I think so, but I don't know. I know I got a little bit of red here, so let me go ahead and add a little bit more red to this neck area that needs to be a little bit more coverage. Y'all remembered in my video earlier, I was talking about how I put some white down on this red earlier to make some highlighted areas, but I don't know that that's going to be the right thing for there. So as I'm adding the coverage here, it's sort of covering that all up, which is fine. Again, it's not like we can't go change it if we need to change it back to another color. So, okay, let's go with that. Let me put a little bit right here on the front, his nose, those areas. So, okay. Let me go look at my reference photo here and see what we got. So again, this is our reference photo. So it looks like, oh, let me bring it to the stage there. Sorry. The reference photo here says all this in the center is red, but unfortunately I can't see the back. So I do know that that's black. Oh, it looks like there's some red down inside there where that's torn and you can see the red underneath. So that's going to tell me that this right here is like padding or something like that. And his red shirt is like the underneath. That's why this is red right here. So let's see if I can find another photo. Let me do some research here on what he looks like. Google search Deadpool. So I can see if I can see what his costume looks like all the way around. Okay. Let's go to images here. So we can find something. I guess something that I can show y'all what he looks like. Let's go with oh, it's on eBay. I didn't mean to click on that. It's an image off of eBay that is an actual costume you buy. I wanted to see just like an image from the web of what he really looks like. Like a character image per se. Okay, let's see if this right here gives us a little bit more insight here. Oh gosh, I hate whenever you click on a website and it wants you to do all these other different things, blah blah blah, just to see a picture. Let's see if this right here helps us. All their pop-up ads popping up and all that stuff. Look, can we not just see the image? Okay, so let me see if it let me show you this. Okay, so there you can see. I don't know what's all over the screen there, as in all this stuff over here, but so we can see the back right here. So there's black areas around here. That's black on the crossbar. So this is all red in the center. So we need to paint that red too while we have some red out. So let's jump over here and see if there's any of that we need to paint. Okay, so is it so that so you don't have the X thing that I'm looking at there. He's got his padded stuff, but that's not this stuff right here. No, actually, I'm going to say that that is supposed to be red. This stays black, maybe. Put some red down in those holes. This is going to be black. That right there might be red. I think that's going to be red. So that means that's going to be red. That'll be black all around through here. And then this right here is going to be red. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Let's get us some more red in here, maybe, because we're going to need a little bit. No, we got a little bit for right now. Let's start with that. So let's turn our gun down and try to control it here and get some areas covered. It gives us an idea. I'll make sure my mic's back on there. Gives us an idea of the area we want to cover here. Let me turn it up just a touch. Now we spray some red. Since we haven't sprayed this before, we're not going to try to cover it in one pass. We're just going to get some paint on it for right now. As we finish out some other stuff, we'll come back and hit it again multiple times to bring it up to the level of our other reds, because we didn't paint these in the beginning. And it happens. That's the way it goes sometimes. You look at it and go, well, that's supposed to be the same color as that. So, and you find stuff. So no big deal. Again, that's the joy of it. You can go paint whatever color you want, wherever, at whatever time. I could go back and change this all to yellow if I wanted to right now, just by changing the paint in my gun and going and doing it, right? Add a little bit of paint to these, let that set up and give us a base to work off of. We'll come back, we'll add it, we'll mix it up a little more paint because we know we got some more stuff to do now. We'll hit it again here in a minute. We know that's red, that's black. I'm going to guess that, no, that's not going to be, that's going to be black there, because that is his sort of shirt underneath, and this is like his armor outside the shirt per se. But we do know we need to put some blood drops looking down in here. right? I think that's what we were looking at over there. Blow my paint out. So we'll make it red for right now, and then we'll come back and clean it up when we do our blacks. It's really blowing that paint out of that little hole. So I'm just going to fill it in, and we'll detail it as we need to. These look like they might need to be red underneath there too, along with this one right here. So tell if it's a cut or what. So I'm just going to add some red to it right now. Again, worst case scenario is if we need to black it out as we get over there with the black, we'll do that. So got any more cuts on him? Yeah, let's go with a little bit of red in there. And some red down in that tear there. I'm thinking that's a tear there. It's not. We shall cover it up. Okay, so that's that. You would think this right here would be red instead of black, but it is what it is. Okay, what else did we need to paint here? I thought there was something else y'all said that we need to paint. When you figure out the control of your gun and all that stuff, it makes it so much funner and enjoyable, and you're just not blowing paint all over the place and going, what in the heck happened here? Because as you start out, yes, it will happen. It will happen, and you're going to be a little frustrated. But never fret. Figure it out. Just learn to control that now. Like, so on my gun, I've got an air valve right here. I can turn the air down all the way and close it off, and then no air will come through. But I've got my machine turned down as low as I want to. I can, but I can also just barely turn this on and barely spray. I mean, it's so light. I don't know if y'all can even see that. Y'all see that paint barely coming out of there? So I could really get in here and get some detail and keep that paint from blowing out of those holes just like that. Barely having it on. So, and then I can really control my spray by doing so. So having the ability to control your air, because most machines will only go down so low and you still want to be able to control it. So I highly recommend you get one of these little control valve things. It just goes in line on your hose. You can get other little water filters and all that stuff. I don't know that I've necessarily seen the need to have that yet, but you do you. If you feel like you need it, get it. I haven't found the need for it. I'm just saying. So, okay, so there's some of the red stuff. See how I got red going on down here, just where it oversprayed, and now it's down here on my white letters and all that stuff. That's because I'm going to spray those red eventually, but I just want to put some of that white there to sort of make them stand out differently, and we'll see and do that later. So, okay, let me turn my gun back up here. Control my red still even better yet on this very edge, top of my stuff there. Trying to get that red right down to the edge of my black and just detailing a fine line along there. Just trying to put my paint exactly where I want it. And this is exactly how we're doing that. We're just really controlling that paint nozzle, the tip, spraying our paint exactly where we want it. I tell you another important piece of tools for doing this is this little dead Lazy Susan. Is that what a Lazy Susan? that my wife got me off Amazon, which I haven't not linked on my account yet, but I will. Because that thing makes it nice. You can stick your finger on there and control your workpiece just by spinning your finger back and forth on that thing. You control where your model's at right in front of your face. I think I was saying it on one of my streams yesterday or something like that. I used to paint model cars, but there was airbrushes back then, about the early 90s, but for some reason I didn't pick up the desire. Maybe I tried and I didn't know. I think because the airbrushes back then were the ones that you get that attached to a can of air, and they sprayed that away, and things were just different. You know, with modern technology, things are really changed. So this is a totally different type of setup and control. Now, granted, I know there's guys and people have been airbrushing for a long time, and they've been doing it their way for a long time. But I'm new over here, so I'm doing it my way, and I'm really liking how it's turning out, giving me something different and new to do. So see how we're able to control this paint exactly where it goes now. Look at this edge of this red here before I dial it up and paint some of those other areas now. But yeah, I highly recommend you get a type of spray gun that you can either control it with a valve on it, or your air compressor has a control on it, type deal. So it makes it a lot more enjoyable instead of blowing stuff all over the place. Again, you still might make some errors and all that stuff. I still make plenty of errors, don't get me wrong. Not like I don't make errors myself. So I just touched his head. So keep that in mind. You're going to make mistakes. That's the whole purpose of learning. To teach you how to do it and all that stuff. But the biggest thing is having fun while you're learning. Got to have fun while you're learning. And then make it. I'm telling you now, it's to the point where I find myself wanting to sit here for hours and do stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do this. And I got to go do live. I got to go do that. So, just saying, it can become a lot of fun. I don't know if y'all just saw me do that, but I was sort of shooting blind around a corner there, and I should not have done that. Not that I made a mistake to the point where now I got to go back and fix it. I haven't looked around a corner still, actually, but I sort of was just painting around the corner of this thing. So from my view, I'm looking at through this knives, and I was spraying back in the direction back over in there. So there, now I can see back in there, and now I can see that I needed some paint back in there, but I was just spraying sort of blindly per se, and not looking where my actual paint was going. Shouldn't do that because you will get paint in places where you don't want it. So, okay. And in them details and putting that paint exactly where we want it here. Filling in these areas really good. Okay, it's looking good from what I can tell. Some back in there. Both sides. There's some tight areas on this model that's really hard to get paint back into. Does that need to be? That's got to be painted back in there, up underneath this thing right here, back in there. That's part of his red part. I gotta try to throw some paint back in there without getting paint in some of the other places. Not always easy to do, but by golly, we'll get her. May have got a little bit too much, but you know what that means, right? Let's go in there and add some there. There we go. Covered over a little bit. Just let it run. I mean, I know that ain't the right thing to do, but we'll just get some on it because it's really hard to see. But at the same time, in light, you can see that it's red back in there, and that's what we want. So, okay, there's that. Let me spray a little bit more of these spots here with my red since I have it in my gun, and there's some lighter areas here. Go ahead and darken those. We're trying to get that really good red base going. Good full coverage so that when we switch over to our other colors, then we can have a good base color to paint on. And I'll mention on my lives, but this is going to be a recording, so again, you can still comment. Anybody that wants to comment, drop their own personal YouTube page. If they do crafts or whatever, feel free to drop your YouTube pages. That is not red. That's not red. That's black. That's card. Okay. That's all going to be brown up there. So, yeah, if you have, sorry, if you find that I just go like all over the place. If you have your own YouTube page, feel free to drop it as a comment. People can go check it out. They can subscribe if they wish to. I've got friends that are here on this because I have a friend that helped get me out there. So that's what it's all about. No different with the VA stuff. Friends helping friends. So that's what I'm here for. I'm more than willing to help people. You know, as long as people are not snoops and all that stuff, I'm willing to help other people put their message out and all that good stuff. So I think I like where we're at right now on this. Looking good. Make sure I get it under his chin real good because that's sometimes the hardest places to get, especially on these models. Whenever the chins just catch a different way of getting 3D printed, and sometimes you just gotta make sure you broadcast it correctly up underneath there. We're gonna come back and we're gonna catch some of like this stitching down through here. We'll put a little bit of a black shadow in there where those edges come around, where you can see the difference and all that stuff. And in between the shadows there, we'll just miss some paint in there and we'll get to that point. So overall, I think for the most part, we're looking good. We'll just keep doing our thing. Keep painting and adding to it. Can y'all see it? What do y'all think so far? I don't even know where we're at on time wise. Let me grab this thing. So what do y'all think there? So again, there's the reds and all that stuff. So we're gonna do some silver on this thing, gonna do the blacks on his duty gear and all that stuff, whatever you want to call that part of the costume. Got to do white there on that card. Got to paint the knives on his back and the rest of his stuff back here. So it's sort of a slow process, but we'll get there. So hang tight. Okay, what do we want to look at now here on him? So I'm standing here as I'm vaping and I'm looking at those swords. Boy, that's gonna be a challenge. I'm looking at his other picture, and let me bring it on stage for you here. I was looking at these swords and I'm going, oh man, I got to get white down in all those little spots and all that stuff. But oh, sorry, I'm over here on the wrong one. See all that white in between each of those inlays? But I don't think ours has it. But I do have some gold we'll put in there. So that's a black thing around his neck, as you can see in there. So just some ideas. So he's got some black in these areas. But this is sort of like when he's dirty. We're going to keep him clean, I guess. We'll just throw some shadows up around his head and stuff like that. So, what do y'all think about the words Deadpool? Should I do them in a more solid white, or should I do them in red? Keep the base black? What do y'all think? Let's see if I can find some more photos of him on other pages. Actually, let me just go back, see if we can look at some of the other ones as options. Those are some weird costumes. I don't know if I even want to show this. Here's a homemade costume on Etsy that someone made that sort of gives us an idea. Make sure it's not too weird. It's a replica suit. So here's some different images I was looking at, and this right here is what I was looking at as. So it's all black on the underneath, and he got the black strap, black thing around his neck and his eyes, even though those eyes are supposed to be white. Now, granted, it's a costume. Got black shoulders, so it looks like the sides over here are black and the chest piece is red. Is that the way ours is? So, but anyway, so that's where we're at on Deadpool for right now. I'll keep working on him, doing various things, and switch the camera there, and then I'll go move the thing so you can see him sort of in the other perspective here. Let me turn him sideways here so you can see. That's where we're at with him right now. So again, I just sprayed that Deadpool lightly in white. Did some white highlights there just so I can, for one, it helps me see as I'm painting and all that stuff. So, but let me spin him around a little bit, let y'all see more of his paint features there on the arms. We got the red. We got some red down in the torn injury sites, I guess you could say. Get some red on the stuff in the back. Got some details in here we got to do. We got to do some details on the two swords, the two knives, whatever it is he carries. And then we'll keep adding to him. So I'm going to stop the video there, and we shall continue at a later time, whether it be later this evening. I'll get this video posted and work on the next part as I'm spraying. So I just want y'all to be able to see the whole process. So again, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching.
Thank you, everyone, and I will see you on the next live stream.
Thank you to everyone that supports my adventures with your subscription to my photography content on X at Hotwire405.